working with our clients and controlling our emotions. What's going on, ladies and gents in Cyberland? So I'm coming back to you with another informal video. One thing that I've learned as a realtor and something I like to share with you as potential clients as well as other realtors, because I'm pretty sure we all kind of dealt with this to one way or another. So, emotions. Controlling your emotions. Now, the thing about being a realtor is that it's not easy. It has its good days and bad days like any type of career that you do. However, at times, because you're going to have a client who's either trying to buy a home or trying to sell a home, it can be a little stressful for them because there could be mitigating factors in regards to maybe they don't want to sell their home or they have to sell this home to get into their new home, a contingency situation. Or it could be the fact that they really want the house and they're concerned that the escrow might fall out or they may not be able to get it or something, just a lot of emotions going through. And as a realtor, your job is to make sure that you control those emotions with them, is that you lead the charge, you let them know that you're here for them, you let them know that you're going to do everything in your power to make sure that they're able to sell the home and get into the house that they need, or sell the home and get the money that they're trying to get, or get into the home they really want, being able to buy it and they don't fall through an escrow. And sometimes that means having to, even when you kind of get a feeling like things may be a little on the bad side in regards to escrow, like they could be coming close to losing the falling out of escrow from a situation going on with the seller. They don't like this or they don't like that, or they're not willing to compromise, or your buyers are not really fully willing to compromise, that it can cause that. And even with that, yes, you want to be truthful and you want to state the facts, but every time you do that, you want to be stating it in as best as possible in a positive way to let them know, to not discourage them, or to also not have them start feeling in a negative light in regards to like, oh, this isn't going to work or something's going to happen, maybe this wasn't the best course of action. At the end of the day, it is up to them in regards to their decisions about how they want to proceed. However, you want to make sure that when they're putting their best foot forward, that they're doing it based on the fact that not only are you fighting for them, but you're giving them confidence. You're also instilling in them that this is going to work. You're just instilling a positive progression. You don't want to be the person that, oh, this is going to fall apart, this isn't going to work, oh, this was a waste of time. You don't want to bring negativity into a transaction. You don't want to bring negativity into the clients you're working with, because, they're making a change in their life and they need somebody that's going to be in a positive way, because who wants to be around negativity? Even if the situation, the information is factual, you don't want to spin it in a negative way. You want to say, hey, this is what's going on, but this is what I'm doing, or this is what's happened, but this is what I'm doing, or this is what I've done, or this is what we can do. You even when you got problems, you still try to either have solutions once you bring up the problem, or you say, hey, these are the ways we can go about it. You don't just want to spout out negative information or information that's not the best to hear without having something that's going to say, we can fix this, or this is what I can do, this is what we can do together. Because as long as you do that, then your clients could still feel a little wary about the escrow, about what's going on, but they still have confidence in what you're going to do and what you're going to try to do to make sure that we can get whatever situation that came up on the table resolved. Because I gotta, from my experience, no escrow is just simple. There's always going to be some type of hiccup, whether it's these documents haven't been signed and they need to be signed, or they should have been signed, or this information was not given in the right amount of time, so now we have to fast track and we can't, you got to do whatever you can to make sure that if the escrow falls apart, it's not because of something you did, and it's not because of something that your clients were privy to. It fell apart because of the other side. And sometimes you have to fight for the other agent. Sometimes you have to put aside however your ego feels about, well, this isn't my job, I shouldn't be doing this. You got to do whatever you can in legal matters in regards to nothing illegal, of course. You got to do everything you can sometimes to make sure that the transaction gets done because you're fighting for your clients. It's not about whether you should be doing this or that. It's about your clients want this home, and you got to do what you can to make sure they can get into it. Regardless if a third party person doesn't want to do their job or is not fully doing their job, or regardless if the other agent isn't fully doing their job, or the seller's being difficult or the buyer's being difficult, you got to do what you can to make sure that the transaction still goes forward with your client because you did everything in your power, even if that means having to take on a task that's not part of your job. That's just, you got to look at the big picture. What's the big picture? And I'm not talking money. The big picture is you were hired to do a job for your seller or your buyer, and your goal is to make sure that you're able to get them what they want. That's it. Because money comes and goes, but relationships as a realtor, those can last a lifetime, to where you're not only help these people, but you're helping their kids, you're helping their grandkids. You see where I'm going with this? The money aspect comes, but you got to have the mindset that you're in it to win it, but you're in it to help people. You're not in it just to get paid. Yes, we live in a capitalistic society. We need to make money, but you still need to keep that mindset when you're working with the seller or buyer, because at the end of the day, they talk. They're going to let other people know about you, and you want them to talk about you in a positive way. Yeah, you may have, well, he did all these great things, but he had this one little mess up. You could have that, or they could be, oh, he did everything, this and that, or she did this and that, but she had a little bit of mess up, or no, she was great. You'd rather have it that way, rather than saying, oh, this guy was terrible. He wasn't informative. He didn't tell us anything. He kept changing his tune. He kept doing this. He just wasn't honest. You don't want that, because that reputation will start to travel, and you don't want other realtors to have this mindset that you cut corners, or you don't follow through, or you don't do your job on your end. You don't want that either. So those are other things to consider. So I'm gonna let you in on a situation that happened with me with a former client, and it was basically how I controlled my emotions, and then not only how I controlled my emotions, but how I presented information to this former client. So pretty much the client, for the most part, one day would say they wanted to move forward, the next day they didn't. They would always be flip-flopping during the escrow, to where it would get people nervous or feel some type of way about, is this going to work or is it not? And I was the person, along with a few other people, that were more so the agents, but also the lenders, that we would have to coordinate with each other to an extent, just to let each other know in a positive way that things are moving forward. Even though personally I was very pissed off, I was not happy with how I was being treated. I was not happy with the overall experience. It just put a bad taste in my mouth, and I was just like, did I put something in the world to get this? What did I do to exhibit this bad behavior at me? And I had to realize, talking with my mentor, and I had to realize that sometimes you're going to have people like that, but you got to put your best foot forward, have a positive attitude, even though you don't feel like it, but you got to present that to them, and you have to continue to move forward because you need to get this thing done, which was true. I was at a point in my life where I had to get this transaction done, not because of the monetary reason, just I didn't want to have a failure, because it could have been prevented if I had done X, Y, Z, even though I felt a certain type of way, well, this technically is not my job, or this or that. And, the client would just, client was not the most pleasant. Some days they would be pleasant, other days they would make it seem like I was sabotaging, or I was withholding information, or I was trying to play for the other team, and I wasn't putting their interests first, which I was. I did everything I could to put their interests first, but to them it didn't matter. However, then the next day their tune would change. So it was just a roller coaster of emotions. And mind you, I'm trying to do everything I can to keep this client happy, but then also dealing with barrages that are coming from the seller side, because my client is unfortunately not doing certain things, or they're feeling some type of way, or the lender is telling me that there's issues and it's because this is not being done, or this is not being done, and it's just bickering and just problems back and forth. So as I continued through the transaction and we nearly were done, it even got to a point where the client wanted to try to find a way to back out of purchasing the home, I think, or just find any excuse. And at that point, I was just like really just stressed out, really upset. And it was just because I felt like, what else can I do, And what I did was continue to put my best foot forward. And I realized that sometimes, you can't control everything. You can't control the whole transaction as a realtor. You can't control how people are going to respond to you. You can't control the outcome of the escrow like you would like to. What you can do is control your emotions, have a positive attitude, and state the facts and keep it pushing. And do everything you can for the client that's within your power. As long as you're able to accomplish that every single day you're working with them, during whether it's finding a buyer a home, or a seller, trying to help a seller sell their home, or then sell and buy a new home, as long as you're doing everything every day, you get up and step out of your home and do your job as a realtor for your client, that's all that matters. Because at the end of the day, there's going to be times where the transaction doesn't go through because XYZ, and it had nothing to do with you. It wasn't because you didn't do this, or it wasn't because you didn't do that. It's just because that's where the cards were landed, And as long as you have that mindset, you shouldn't have to worry about anything. It's a drag, though, because when you work hard and you want to see the fruits of your labor, it's the truth. However, you have to accept the fact that not everything's in your control, and sometimes you can fall out of escrow, or things just don't work out with the client because something could be going on with them, or it's just not a great fit like you thought it was, or they feel some type of way, or they could just be crazy, mentally ill. Who knows? You'll never know the full story. You just have to keep in the back of your mind that you did everything you were supposed to do, and that's all that matters. So that's my thoughts on the story, and as well as the emotional side of being a realtor and trying to work with people and trying to keep their spirits high even when they feel like it's bleak, like there's no light at the end of the tunnel when actually there is. So if you have any questions, feel free to send me an email or shoot me a text or a phone call. Love to be able to work with you and make your dreams become a reality. Anyway, take care.